crash update. For those new to the channel, my name's Jason. I'm a realtor and investor just outside of Columbus, Ohio, in a small town outside of Columbus, Ohio, and I try to bring you the latest housing crash update every morning, every weekday morning anyway, around 9 a.m. So thanks for joining me today. So let's get into foreclosures. That's what today's about. Foreclosures. And we're going to start with a pseudo-celebrity, one celebrity. Mr. Kevin Spacey has a Baltimore condominium that is now foreclosed on. I guess he paid $5.6 million several years ago, and now it has been auctioned off to a real estate investor in Baltimore for $3.4 million. But Mr. Spacey is trying to block the foreclosure process. I think unsuccessfully now. I think it has actually been foreclosed on. And he's blocking it because, quote unquote, he's being bullied, according to him and his lawyers. So I thought that was poetic justice with what he's been involved in. So, yep, even celebrities have houses foreclosed on. Now, that's from Realtor.com. If you don't know, Realtor.com has a great celebrity real estate section that, you know, has a lot of interesting stories in there about different celebrity homes, a lot of foreclosures in there, you know, insane houses. Yeah, you should check that out if you haven't already. Pretty interesting stuff. All right, speaking of foreclosures, let's look at where we are with foreclosures in the United States. So, according to the latest July update from ICE, and ICE is ICE, they have a report they put out every month. It's pretty in-depth on the mortgage market, delinquencies, foreclosures, and whatnot. They just released their July report. They released it a couple months after the close of a month. Foreclosure starts are up 32%. That's right. Foreclosures in July were up. The starts of foreclosures, when somebody actually starts the foreclosure process, up 32%. However, that's fewer than 30,000 homes in the entire United States. So less than 30,000 homes started the foreclosure process. And active foreclosure inventory, the actual number of homes active in the market that are foreclosures that you may see online, that nudged higher by 2,000 units. So how many is that? Not a lot. We're talking about the whole entire United States. You only see 2,000 foreclosures, you know, added to inventory. And that's just not that many. That's the second lowest level since January of 2022. Foreclosure sales, the number of completed foreclosures, people actually, you know, going through the foreclosure process and their house is auctioned at a foreclosure sale, much like Mr. Spacey, I guess. That was up 3.7% month on month, down 9% year on year. So, and that's less than half of the pre-pandemic level going back to 2019. So the question is, are there a lot of foreclosures out there? No, there's not. There are not a lot of foreclosures. I can tell you as an investor and a realtor, somebody who looks at foreclosures all the time, and I actually market to foreclosures. Like, I have a system that I'll pull pre-foreclosures out of a database and, you know, market to them to see if I can help them. I've helped, you know, several people out of foreclosure from a standpoint of getting rid of their house. But I ask you, what drives foreclosures, right? Like, why are foreclosures, what happens before a foreclosure? Well, you got to be delinquent. You got to be delinquent in a foreclosure or you got to be delinquent in your mortgage in order to have a foreclosure. So delinquencies, we are at a staggering, a jaw-dropping 3.37% of all mortgages right now are delinquent. 3.37%. Is that a lot? No, it's not. That's not at all. That's it's actually down. All delinquencies were down in all major markets except Houston, and that's because of the hurricane, they're saying. So I'd check out this ICE report if you're interested in foreclosures and kind of keeping your finger on that. But The fact is, folks, that people have a ton of equity. You don't foreclose on a house when you have equity, because if you have enough room to sell the house and make some money, and if you can't make the payment, well, you're going to sell the house, right? But you're going to walk away with some cash. The average homeowner, I think I said this yesterday, the average homeowner has $299,000 in equity, according to CoreLogic. $299,000. And there's trillions of dollars in home equity right now in the United States. Tons of equity out there. And so if you can't make your mortgage payment, you lose your job, unemployment spikes, you lose your job, and you're like, I can't make my mortgage payment. First off, you can call the bank and work something out. You know, I mean, banks don't want houses right now. They don't want to go through what they did in 2008, 9, 10, 11. They don't want to go through that. So what do? They keep you in your house. And so if you're in that situation and you can't make your mortgage payment, you should definitely reach out to your lender sooner than later. You know, a lot of taxes are increasing right now, a lot of property taxes, insurance and whatnot. If unemployment spikes, a lot of people think, hey, if unemployment spikes, there's going to be a wave of foreclosures across the United States. You know, get your beach towels ready because there's going to be a wave of foreclosures. Well, in order for that to happen, you have to have delinquency. In order for delinquencies to happen, you got to have all that economic turmoil. Now, that could all happen. You could see unemployment spike. You could see people not being able to make their mortgage payment. But my guess is two things will happen. One, banks will keep people in their homes a lot longer. And number two, you're going to see people sell their houses before they go to foreclosure. You're just going to see that. And that's what I'm seeing anyway. I'm seeing very, very few foreclosures in Ohio. And again, the delinquency rate at 3.37% is super low. I mean, we're down to like historical low levels for mortgage delinquency. And I know from personal experience, I have several close friends, relatives that have, over the last few years, struggled to make their mortgage payment, and they went into forbearance, they went into mortgage modification, and they were successful with the mortgage modification. Hang on a second, got a comment here. Well. What do we have here? Well, hello there, Pussy. I don't know what that means. I bought my house at $137,000 in 2020, and now it's worth $205,000. Okay, good. Are you going to keep it? I hope you do. You should. Probably have a really low mortgage rate. There are more car repos now, though. That's true, there are, but cars aren't houses, you know? I mean, the house is like, your roof over your head is like the last thing you're going to give up, right? I mean, think about it. You're going to give up Netflix, eventually give up your car if you can't make the payment. But your home, you're going to stay in that, and banks do not want homes. They just don't want them. They got to ramp up their whole department, all their departments, they got to ramp up in order to get rid of these homes. They're not going to want to do that because they had to fire everybody when foreclosures sunk, right, after the great financial crisis. So they don't want homes. They're going to do everything they can to keep people in their homes. And by the way, if foreclosures do spike, if that ever happens, you're going to see delinquencies first, then you're going to see foreclosures explode if that ever does happen. And when it does, by the way, right now, the average time in foreclosure, according to Adam Data, is like 800 days. It takes 800 days to go through a foreclosure process. So, I mean, like looking at my watch I don't have on, but like if you think about it, if you're waiting on a foreclosure wave, you're going to be waiting years because you've got to have delinquencies first, which we don't have yet. We could, but we don't yet. So you have delinquencies first, then you have foreclosures. We're talking years before those foreclosures actually hit the market. So if you're waiting on that, you're going to wait a long, long time. And by the way, again, if it hits the market, don't you think people are going to buy them up? People, like the cat's out of the bag. People know about this whole, foreclosure thing now much more than they did back in the great financial crisis, I think. People are going to be ready to buy foreclosures. Again, I wanted to just hit on this again. If you can't pay your mortgage, call your mortgage servicer now, earlier than later, and tell them you can't pay, and have them help you work out some kind of plan. But don't wait till you're not making payments, and don't miss a mortgage payment. That's not a good situation. Do not miss a mortgage payment. Whatever you do, that destroys your credit. So anyway, that was what I had today, all about foreclosures. I'm going to do a deep dive on foreclosures on a video coming up, and so watch out for that. The other thing is, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, I'll do a live Redfin update on the fresh housing data. Curious to know what it shows. Are new listings continuing to drop? Will active listings continue to drop? Because we are seeing less active listings now. It's starting to fall. Will the median price increase again? I don't know, but that'll be interesting. The data comes out today. You can check it yourself on the data center for Redfin, but data comes out today. I'll do that live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Join me on that live. We have great interaction, and I analyze metros across the United States, different cities, and national picture too. So anyway, thanks for joining me today on my daily housing crash update. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.